listening to Second Wind with Joyce Buford, where women who are ready to expand their life adventure discover the tools to stop playing small and tap into the courage required to enjoy their second wind. Welcome.
Welcome. I'm so excited to know you're out there. I am looking at a very rainy day in my town, Tyler, Texas. And I bet you are too if you're in the listening region. We've had so much water. But anyway, thank you for being here today. It always brightens my day to know you're out there listening. You know, one of the commitments I made to you is I was always going to bring interesting, challenging guests. And today is a magnificent day for us. I'm very honored to have our guest today. It is Shai Tubali, and he is an author of over a dozen books. His newest book, Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation, explains 35 meditation techniques from all over the world. With postgraduate expertise in science fiction, film, and pop culture, he shares the common principles that can help modern humans struggling with trauma, fear, uncertainty, depression, anxiety, and screen addiction. That is very interesting to me. I can't wait to hear more about that one. As the leading authority in the field of self-development and self-empowerment, Tubali successfully combined psychology, philosophy, yoga transitions, and Eastern thought and practices into powerful processes of inner transformation. I know that was a mouthful, but there is so much here, and I'm so grateful that he is on Second Wind. So welcome, Shai.
Thank you so much. It's a great joy being here.
Oh, thank you. Now, for my listeners, I hear a little accent. So you were born in Israel, correct?
Right. Yes.
But you have not settled there. You're all over the world and moving constantly. But anyway, what do you mean by screen addiction?
Screen addiction. Well, I think this is an all too familiar experience, right?
Yes, we live in front of screens.
Is this feeling that we cannot remain quiet or undisturbed for one moment, and not because we're actually needed, but we feel that we are actually needed or wanted. We always need to be in a certain state of conversation or interaction or reaction to something. So now we have it available to us. Therefore, screen addiction is like the externalization of our thinking, because our thinking always likes to be engaged. It is never quiet.
That's true. That's true.
Yes.
Well, I'm in Tyler, Texas, and we are in the Bible Belt. And so I wanted, for many years and through my study and getting ready for our interview today, I learned myself that the word prayer and meditation are different. They mean different things. So would you explain that to my listeners, please?
Yes, I would love to, because this is a very beautiful point. When I began researching for my book, the Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation, in which I have compiled 35 classical meditations from all over the world, I came to realize that in Eastern philosophy and practice, they talk about meditation. But when you are looking for meditation techniques in Islam, in Christianity, and in Judaism, you find none, because actually there is no such term. You can only find prayer. Now, prayer is the devotion of your mind and heart to the creator of the universe, to your creator. It's this kind of constant contemplation that leads you to a sense of oneness with your maker, with this unknowable source of life. Now, if the thing is, then here is the point. If you are approaching meditation as any technique that stills your mind, your intellect, and your agitated heart, and in order to get in touch with deeper realities of your own self, your own existence, life, and the universe, then this must include prayer as well, right? So because when I pray, I also still my mind, my heart, and my senses, in order to devote my entire attention to something that is invisible, yet sometimes even more real than reality itself.
Yeah.
So for me, prayer and meditation should be regarded as one practice, generally speaking.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So do you, I know in a lot of practices, people have a certain time that they do their meditations, that it's a beginning of their day, they get right with God and the universe. So is there a time that you think is better for meditation? I know it's probably an individual thing, but would you recommend a different time?
Well, not really, and there is a reason for this, because as you just pointed out, I think this is extremely individual, and I think that we should respect our own individual rhythm, because when we begin to make meditation a discipline, a practice, what I call a long-faced practice, when I become overly serious and overly disciplined, I think we might lose the joy of meditation. So for some of us, it's the best as soon as we wake up in the morning. And for some of us, like me, I love meditating at nighttime, just before going to sleep, when the whole world is silent, and I feel as if my being is naked. My being has been stripped off its ordinary clothes. You see, what I usually wear as my role, my name, my identity, all that.
Oh yeah. And I can see the way you would approach the day. When you're doing morning prayer, it's more about walk with me as I go through this day, protecting and providing, where you've experienced the day. And so you're with gratitude and I think more. Would that make sense? Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So what was your reason for doing, or you've written several books. How many books have you got written?
Well, if you include Hebrew, because I used to write a lot in Hebrew, that was a huge sacrifice for the sake of publishing in English, because I really love Hebrew. So if you include Hebrew books in Hebrew, then this should be 27, I would say. Yes.
Wow. And you started when you were 7?
No.
No, you started writing. Pardon me. Did I not books, but you started writing very early.
Very early, yes. I think when I was only 10 years old, I remember myself sitting in the room writing essays and poems about the meaning of life without even understanding what I was writing about. It was almost an unconscious movement, unconscious flow. But then I also published my first book of short stories at the age of 19.
Yeah.
So that was pretty early.
Yeah. Well, if you can, what was the feeling like at 7 where you felt like you had a bigger purpose than one of your playmates that was just playing for the day, but yet you were called to write and begin that study?
Well, to be honest, it felt like being an alien
Ah,
because
yeah.
I felt as if I was standing outside the world, observing the normal human world, and my playmates who felt very comfortable with their bodies, with their role as children, but there was something extremely serious about my being, about my way of understanding and perceiving the world. So that was a source of alienation, but also a source of, well, extreme passion, unexplained passion.
Yeah. Well, you started traveling. I was fascinated to hear how much you moved and your philosophy of why you do that. So tell us about, you started moving in your teens, right? Moving to another
Yes.
country totally, or almost remaking yourself, correct?
Yes, you're right that this has something to do with my philosophy of life, because I believe in surprising ourselves and in never remaining in a certain fixed perspective or position or role. So this includes also being able to move every now and then to an altogether different culture.
Wow.
So yes, when I was in my early 20s, this was India.
Yes.
It was a period of travel there, and then I moved to Berlin, Germany, where I lived for 10 years. I even built a center there, and that was an interesting period. And just now I've moved to Portugal.
Oh,
So right
lovely.
now it's really hot and sunny here. I don't want to make you envy, but but it's a great joy being here. A
No
great
rain?
relief. I'm sorry?
No rain?
Hardly any rain. Yes.
Oh, well, I could send you some. We've had a lot here. So for most people, moving is a very traumatic time, but I don't think it was for you, was it? Was it an exciting time, like a rebirth almost, when you would move from place to place? Those are major moves.
That's yes, especially because these are extremely different cultures. You see,
Yes.
the Israeli culture is so different to the German culture, for instance, that you really need to adjust your personality in tremendous ways. So yes, when you move to a different country, you feel shaken. It's as if your legs don't have this kind of firm grasp on the ground, and but I also think that this is a source of renewal. It is a way of challenging myself, because then I don't feel well too settled anywhere, and this keeps my mind awake and young. This is a part of my understanding of how life can be.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in each one of those moves, you did something, you achieved many things. I was just so impressed with all the doctors and all the doctorate degrees in philosophy and what you've started. And you've just constantly continued to grow and share, right?
Yes, that's, yes, sorry.
I don't know if this is a fair question, but I'll throw it out there.
Please.
Was there a time was there a move that was more challenging to you, that you felt more vulnerable perhaps, or you weren't quite sure, you kind of had this little moment, oh, I wish I hadn't, But do you ever have those moments, or do you feel almost that those moves have been divinely provided? Those are growth, but they're with a higher purpose, I guess. That's what I'm asking.
Yes, that's a wonderful question. Well, I would say that there is a sense of there is an urge toward a constant expansion of my being, in the sense that there is this core of my being, but then there is a call to expand more and more, and to constantly become more, or to learn more, or to develop my knowledge, and to develop to respond to all these different passions. So this, I'm convinced that this is divinely inspired, because the mind itself is still. The mind doesn't feel I don't know, agitated. It's not some sort of neurosis that I feel that I have to do something new, but there is a certain stillness, and then there is a next step. This next step is a certain expression of expansion. But do I sometimes feel that well, I've over challenged myself? I think almost always.
Oh, really?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Oh, with all of that you've accomplished, I didn't expect to hear that.
No, I think that's a part of it, because we are when we do these things, we strain, or we push our human limits, and sometimes this challenges the mind, the body, but again the heart knows. So that's what I follow.
Yeah. Was there ever a move that you kind of resisted?
Yes. When I was 23, I had a certain let's call it a profound religious experience, in which I experienced oneness with the world, the oneness with the universe, and this opened for me the gates to unending bliss and love and so on. But then it took me 1 year to well, let's say, absorb or assimilate the implications of that realization. And then at the age of 24, I remember very well standing on a junction. I could either retreat, withdraw from the world, and just be silent somewhere, because the temptation was very strong to simply immerse myself in this religious experience. On the other hand, there was going out to the world and teaching, helping other people to alleviate their own suffering. And I really didn't want to take that route of being involved in a public role and so on. And actually, whenever I teach, I still feel this slight resistance.
Really?
because there is a part in me that still wants to simply be quiet and renounce the world. You see, so but there is a feeling, again, here it is the higher calling of the heart that tells you that you simply cannot keep quiet in this suffering world.
Right. So if you can connect with your heart, that's where your real bliss is, in your direction, would you say?
The only direction, yes, because well, the mind is just constantly torn between different possibilities, right? The mind tells you perhaps this, perhaps that, this is better, this has these advantages or these advantages, and so on and so on. But the heart has a certain knowing that comes from the soul,
Yes.
It's and there I would say it's not even something that you know, it's something that you're being reminded of. It's like we have a certain program, certain guidelines imprinted, engraved in our heart, and we're being reminded of them through different experiences in our life.
Yeah. While you were speaking, this is the example that came into my head. It's sort of like putting on slippers, your most comfortable slippers. When you slip your foot back into the slippers, you're back on your path.
Yes,
right?
yes, exactly.
We all have those favorite slippers, don't we?
Yeah, it's that feeling of being at home.
Yes.
Yes.
So connecting with the heart is one of the accomplishments of meditation.
Yes, definitely, because when our mind is silent, meditation is all about stilling the mind. It's all about quieting the agitated mind down and making it receptive, making it transparent or open. And when it is open, what happens is that we are, well, sometimes it literally feels that we are descending to the heart, and then we are able to place ourselves there. It's as if our heart has become our new head. This is where we perceive. This is where we understand. This is where we listen from. So when the mind is quiet, the heart becomes awakened. Yes.
I like that. So that was the purpose of writing your meditation from all over the world. Was that some of the energy that you put into that book? Because it came from so many different countries and so many different thoughts, right?
Yes. Well, yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
This was my incentive, I think, what has been that meditation can do so many different things for us. You see, meditation can open our heart. It can expand our love and our compassion, but it can also connect us with higher realities, universal realities. It can ground us and align our body and mind. It can enkindle our joy of life. It can do so many things that one simply needs to have this kind of map with which one can navigate this overwhelming world of meditation.
So your book that just came out, Llewellyn's Complete Book of Meditation, just came out in January. So it's very new on the bookshelves. But
exactly.
So they can get it on Amazon. But something else I did that I really did enjoy and I wanted to share with my listeners was that I went to your website and you offer so much on your website. That's a great tool. And your website is, let's go, Shaitubali.com. Shai Tubali.
Shai.
Sorry, I put that little Southern touch on it.
No problem.
Shai. But I do encourage my listeners out there to go to your website. There's teaching on there. There's writing on there. There's so much. I'm going to go back and spend the whole day with you.
Thank you.
So anyway, was very interesting to me. I do encourage my listeners to go to your website, and that will be on the advertisement or publicity that we send out at the end with every show. So we have approached the end of our show. Shai.
Yes.
So I have, my word for this year is joy. And so I have two questions that I'd like for you to answer. Are you willing? Are you up?
Of course,
game
of
for it?
course.
Game
Of
for it?
course, that would be my joy.
Oh, good.
Yes.
All right. Tell me one story when you felt pure joy.
Well, maybe may I be mystical?
Sure, of course.
Yes, because to be honest, most, if not all, of my joyful experiences have something to do with mystical revelations. So I will tell you about I will tell you this story, that I've just moved to Portugal, as we already said, and lately I've been discovering the world of Christian saints and mystics. Although I'm not a Christian. And before coming to Portugal, I read a lot about Saint Anthony of Padua, who is also called sometimes Anthony of Lisbon. And I heard that he lived and studied at a certain monastery in a city called Coimbra, which is just over there, just around the corner. And ever since that reading, I felt that my heart became like a compass to which this monastery was the north. That was the experience. And it was all very mysterious. And then we talked about the soul before. And then when I finally stood in front of the monastery, I felt this rush of indescribable joy throughout my body, like coming home.
Yes.
And then sitting in the chapel was simply pure bliss. It felt like the doors of the heart opened wide, and there was pure love and light. So I could stay there forever.
Yeah.
And ever since that experience, whenever I happen to be in that area, I enter and sit there, absorbed in this perfectly indescribable bliss.
Yeah.
So this is my sharing.
Oh, that's beautiful. Really beautiful. The second question has three parts. Yes. Just 3 tips. Your 3 tips to create more joy in your life, in one's life. Would you share those with us?
Yes, of course. There is this additional 4th one, which is all about my recommendation that we should create adventures and sudden changes in our life in order to surprise ourselves. But this is something that we've already discussed, right? Because that we need to surprise ourselves. This is a part of the joy element. Now, my first tip would be experiment with meditations that can enkindle your joy of life.
Yes.
And here there is a long list. I've actually written it down to inspire us. First of all, just several examples. There is the inner smile. It's a Taoist meditation in which you invoke an inner smile inside your being, that inside your heart, that has remained unaffected by all of life's blows and disappointments. And with this inner smile, you direct your attention to different organs in your body. So you make your heart, you make your liver, you make your eyes smile, radiate. Yes. So that's a wonderful one. And then there is a forest bathing, and a technique called mystic rose. I don't think we have all the time to discuss all these. Yes. So and then
that's on your website. Yes. That's on your website, right?
And
Mystic
the book.
Rose?
And the book.
And the book. Yes.
Yes.
Course.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Right. So look for these meditations. Know that meditations can rekindle your joy of life. Meditations can have their own approach to depression, because they reawaken a certain, well, in terms of chakras, they reawaken a usually suppressed chakra, which is called the sacral chakra, our second chakra. This is called the joy chakra.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the first tip.
Uh-huh.
Now, the second tip is expand your moments of joy. There is this positive psychologist called Barbara Fredrickson, and she speaks of the broadening effect of positive emotions. So positive emotions, they can broaden your being and behavior and then relationship with life. So then when you have even a tiny joyful experience during your day, even if you just, I don't know, feel the soft breeze caressing your neck, then seize that moment and expand it. Don't be content with just experiencing it as a tiny feeling, but allow it to spread throughout your body and being, and to permeate your being. So if you bring it to the maximum level, then it becomes something else. It leads you to the ocean of joy, not just a drop of joy. So that is a second. And the third one is do things that you love every week. Make sure that that you take care of these things that you really love doing, and not just have to do, not just as a part of a sense of duty or becoming someone or receiving recognition. So look for in my chakra system, there is a method called the 7 chakra personality types. And according to this system, there are 7 different types of joy. Not just one. Yes. So each of us needs to discover their own particular joy. Some of us are mostly joyful when we dedicate time to interpersonal relationships and experience intimacy. Some of us when they study something new. Some of us when they experience peak experiences, exciting experiences, even sometimes risky and courageous. And some of us love meditating. So we need to find that thing that we really love, and make sure that there is not even 1 week that passes without dedicating some time to it.
Yeah, wonderful. Great, wonderful. Good steps. Steps to think about, my dear listeners, for sure. And I will think as well. So, Shai, I think it's time for us to say goodbye to our listeners. And I thank you again for a very informative, fun, exciting, broadening interview. I hope that you continue with much success in your work and also in your travels.
Thank you.
Since
so
you're
much.
going to keep traveling in your new home, Portugal. So anyway, if you'll just wait a minute, stay on, then I'll be back with you. So dear listeners, you know, one of the things I always ask you to do is spread the word. Share this interview with all your friends, actually. There is something in here for everybody to hear, to help them through the hard time, to give them a direction that they can go in. Because, you know, when our minds start talking, we feel frozen, we can't move, and we need to move when we're in sad places. So I encourage you. That's my ask of you this week. Share the message, particularly to those that are in pain, and make a difference. So thank you for being here today. You've made a difference. I hope we've made a difference in your life. And we look forward to next week when you'll be back. Have a great week.
Joyce Buford returns next week at the same time for another edition of Second Wind. Through the Joyce Buford Empowerment System, women are receiving the support they need through their transitions and are able to reclaim their true purpose with confidence. They receive the tools they need to map out new lives. You can find out more about her coaching services at joycebufordempowers.com.